From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Tuesday, November the 21st, 2023. Israel's cabinet is meeting tonight to vote on an agreement that, if approved, would see the release of some of the Israeli hostages taken captive during the Hamas massacre of October the 7th and held in Gaza for the last 46 days. Hebrew media reports that the deal would include the release of 53 hostages, women and children, in the first phase, with another possible 20 more, also women and children, in a second phase, in exchange for a ceasefire of 4 days and the release by Israel of between 150 to 300 Palestinian prisoners. We stress that the deal was still being discussed and the details of it were not confirmed as of the time of the taping of this newscast tonight. Netanyahu had said earlier today, according to the Times of Israel, that an agreement will include access by the Red Cross to the hostages remaining in Gaza and that the war against Hamas in Gaza will continue until all of Israel's goals are achieved, including the release of all the hostages. The Prime Minister saying we will not rest until everyone is returned. The war has stages, and the return of the hostages will have stages. We will have more for you on this story tomorrow, Wednesday. The IDF announced 2 more casualties during the Gaza ground operation against terror group Hamas. They are 26-year-old Captain in Reserve Arnon Moshe Avraham Benvenisti Vaspi and 20-year-old Staff Sergeant Ilya Senkin. Israeli troops continue intense battles with Hamas terrorists in Gaza, and today the IDF said it located and destroyed over 70 targets, including enemy observations, terrorist infrastructures, most of which the army said were civilian-mediated, anti-tank launchers and anti-tank squads, and eliminated, it said, many terrorists. Overnight last night, IDF troops completed the encirclement of Jabalia, which is in northern Gaza and is considered a Hamas stronghold, saying terrorists were eliminated and infrastructure was destroyed. Meanwhile, rocket barrages from Gaza were fired today at central Israel. No damage or injury was reported. And Israeli troops continue to battle Hezbollah terrorists who are firing mortars at Israeli territory from Lebanon, including today at an IDF post. There were no casualties. The IDF responded, hitting, it said, 3 anti-tank squads in the Lebanese border area and a number of terrorist targets of Hezbollah, including military infrastructure and infrastructure for targeting terrorism. Later today, the IDF said it launched interceptors at a number of suspicious aerial targets, apparently drones, that crossed from Lebanese territory towards the Western Galilee area. Well, family members of Americans taken hostage by Hamas have launched a special initiative to raise awareness about their loved ones during the upcoming Thanksgiving holiday. The Seats of Hope campaign urges people to leave an empty seat at the Thanksgiving dinner table for the hostages taken on October the 7th and who remain in captivity, saying, in solidarity with our families and all the people being held hostage by terrorists in Gaza, we ask that you reserve a special seat at your Thanksgiving dinner table with hopeful hearts that our loved ones are released and returned home safely. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Tuesday, November the 21st. At 7 o'clock, Dr. Ohad Birk leads a discussion of Sephardic genetic health from Congregation Shearith Israel in New York City. At 8, panelists explore the fluctuating strength of fascism after 1945 by looking at the reappearance of far-right parties in the U.S. and Europe and how Jewish and non-Jewish groups have responded. At 9, filmmaker Gaylen Ross is on L'chaim. At 10, panelists look at the threat posed by fascist groups in the U.S. and survey the responses offered by Jewish Americans. And coming up next, it's Good Week, Israel. And that's the JBS News Update for Tuesday, November the 21st, 2023. I'm Teisha Bader. Am Yisrael Chai.